Hey, how's it going? It's summer now. Yeah, it's summer now. It's, what is it, the third week in August, and we're having summer. It's been sporadically nice for the last few days. Had a really big dump of rain on Monday, which was great because usually rain here happens on a weekend and then it's sunny on Monday. So it was really, really nice to actually see some crazy rain on a Monday instead of on a day that people would ordinarily have off work. So anyway, today we're going to go into the kitchen. Let's go! Because I got something to show you. Something I was kind of looking at some labels. I do a lot of label reading. So that's a habit. I want to know what I'm putting in my body. And so I was doing some label reading last night on some old stuff that I've still got in the house, even from before I started going through my own sort of journey and transformation and all that stuff, changing the way I eat and changing the way I view exercise and stuff like that. So one of the things I still have in the house is old table salt, this stuff. Just regular table salt. And the reason I still have it in the house is because I heard once, a long time ago, that if you add salt to the water when you're hard boiling eggs, or soft boiling eggs, just boiling eggs, that it will keep the shells from cracking. And I've found that to actually be true. Start with cold water, put a bunch of salt in the water, and then start with the burner off and turn the burner on and let it warm up slowly and then boil. I very seldom get a cracked shell when I used to get cracked shells all the time before I learned that trick. So I don't know if it's true or if it's just all coincidence, but it works for me. Anyway, so I kept that salt for that purpose alone when I wound up raping my closets and my cupboards and my pantries and my fridge and getting rid of all the stuff that I no longer eat. I kept that one thing for that purpose alone. So it's really old, it's like years old. As far as I know, salt doesn't go bad, but that's why I still got it anyway. I use sea salt now when I put salt on my food. I'll either use cracked sea salt, which is like these big chunks. I don't know if you can see this, big chunks, and in the grinder. So I grind it. It's really great that way. And then also just, you know, whatever that is, regular coarse sea salt or fine grind sea salt, whatever. Just sprinkles on, right? So I've got two kinds. And I do love salt. But the reason we're talking about salt today is because I was boiling some eggs last night and my little tiny salt shaker that I use for the evil salt was empty, so I had to refill it. So I pulled this out and I looked at the label and I thought, oh my god, this is something worth bringing up. Okay, first, I don't know if you can see this because when I get close with this camera, it tends to get really, really blurry. So I apologize if you can't see it, but I'm going to read it to you. Pardon me. The nutrition label says, okay, first of all, the ingredients are, this is why I think it's important to read your ingredients labels at all times. The ingredients aren't just salt. It's salt, calcium silicate, whatever that is, potassium iodide, I don't know what that is, but I think it's some kind of salt, and sodium thiosulfate. I don't know what all that crap is. I can barely pronounce it, but why is there anything more in this than the first thing, which is salt? And when I buy my sea salt, the only ingredient on the label is sea salt. So, you know, I know I'm doing a better thing for myself by eating sea salt than this crap. I really do, just by the ingredients list alone. But now let's look at the nutrition label, and to be honest, I think the nutrition label for the sea salt would probably be similar. But the one thing that caught my eye was there's nothing in salt except sodium. There's 0 calories, there's 0 lipids, there's 0 glucides, whatever any of those things are, I don't know myself. And then it says, oh, I'm on the wrong side, jeepers. And then it says, not a significant source of saturated fat, trans fat, cholesterol, protein, fiber, sugars, vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, or iron. In other words, there's nothing in it. However, the sodium is per serving size 590 milligrams, which is 25% of your recommended daily allowance. 25% in one serving. And guess how much one serving is? 1/4 of a teaspoon. I can put 1/4 of a teaspoon on a meal, no problem. You know, every single one of my meals might possibly get 25% of my of my RDA, and then I'll wind up with like 150% of my RDA at the end of the day, or like 300% of my RDA at the end of the day. Who knows? Anyway, that's a lot of sodium and a lot of nothing else in a teeny bit of salt. So I guess my big point here is that, yeah, I know salt tastes good. I love it. I really do. I've got less of a sweet tooth and far more of taste for salt. But also sort of in revising the way I eat, I've really cut down on my salt quite a bit, and I do find that my taste buds have adjusted. I don't need a whole lot of salt. I've weaned myself away from needing a whole lot of salt. So that's something that I'm sort of recommending to you if you find that you eat a lot of salt. Because don't forget, packaged foods and restaurant foods and foods you have no control over what's in them, you know, more than one ingredient, you're usually chock full of salt as well. So it's not just the salt you put on your foods, but the salt you get in your foods already in there that really contributes to how much salt you consume. And too much salt really, it isn't really very good for you. You don't need that much salt unless you're like an elite athlete who's sweating like for 8 hours a day and sweating out all the sodium in your body. Then maybe sure. For those guys, they make salt tablets, right? Because I bet those guys eat pretty healthily. Anyway, so just keep an eye on how much salt you're actually putting on your meals and how much salt you're getting in your packaged food if you eat much packaged food, and just be mindful of it and try your best to adjust your taste buds so that you don't need as much, because you will find that your taste buds adjust and you start to enjoy the taste of the real food after a while once you've let your taste buds get used to not having so much salt. So that's it. I was just really surprised by the fact that a quarter teaspoon was 25% of your RDA, and then of course all the ingredients on this regular table salt. Yuck. Ugh. Ugh. Anyway, I mean, I knew that, but I'd sort of let myself forget because it's been quite a couple of years since I've actually read the ingredients list on that salt. But anyway, now I'm rambling, and I do have to get on with my day and get back to work, so we'll see you soon, okay? Take care.